What's up, family? I'm the guy that showcase and promote African-American businesses operating here in the greater Phoenix area. Please help me further support these amazing entrepreneurs by not only supporting my YouTube channel or following me on Facebook, but also stop by their businesses and give them a little economic support. My name is Shaka Shabazz, and this is African American Made. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Man, thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you today. Very excited to talk to you because you're in my world here a little bit. Photographer, and you have a photo booth business.
Yes, sir.
Won't you tell me your name and the name of your businesses?
My name is Jordan Lee. I'm the owner of OBL Photo Booth and Optics by Lee Photography. So I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, all the way on the East Coast. It's very cold over there. I love Phoenix, Arizona, so now I'm here in Phoenix.
Yeah, you're a long way from home. What are some of the major, give me two of the major cultural differences between Baltimore and Phoenix?
Oof, what cultural. In Baltimore, it's mostly, it's mostly black people in Baltimore. That's like the biggest thing. And it's a lot more hole-in-the-wall foods. So you can get better Chinese food, better chicken boxes, better Philly cheesesteaks. So that's kind of like the best thing. When it comes to like Phoenix, Phoenix is beautiful, it's safe, it's fun, it's a lot of good people, it's a lot of love here. It's a lot of positivity as well. So I would say those two like major things.
Yeah, we're coming up a little bit on the soul food joints here,
Oh yeah.
Here and there,
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing a couple of soul food business owners.
I got my favorite soul food spot out here, but I can't say it.
Okay, well you're gonna have to tell me because I have to showcase them.
I got you for sure.
Be between you and I. Okay, man. So you are here in Arizona, a recent resident, but you jumped right in, man. You got your businesses started. And also, I can't go without saying this, you serve in our forces, armed forces.
Yes,
Why don't you talk about that for a minute, man?
So I've been in the Army for 8 years now. Learned a lot of key things, how to be a leader, how to lead other people and manage other people as well. So I just used all those tools that I got from being in the Army and took it right over here, and my business has been running perfectly persistent and consistent since I started it. So
I can definitely believe that because those leadership skills and just the bearing that you develop over the years being in the military can definitely make you a very successful person out here in the civilian world. Brother, that's very commendable. Juggling those things and making them work and being successful in both is very commendable.
Yes.
But we're gonna move on. I don't want to harp on that too much, but I had to give you kudos on that.
It's a lot, man. You gotta juggle. You gotta juggle my fiance. I gotta juggle.
Oh, you threw a fiance in there
that's
too.
my lady. I always gotta show love to my lady. Always gotta show love to my lady. But yes, it's a lot that you gotta juggle, but we do it with grace. We do it with love, and we enjoy it. We enjoy it. So
absolutely. Actually, I interviewed your fiance a few months back. That was a very educational interview. Very knowledgeable in her field. Look forward to possibly interviewing her again in the future.
You will.
A wealth of information there.
Absolutely.
Photography.
Yep.
What inspired you to get into photography? What was it about photography that pulled you in? Because you had other interests before getting into this realm.
Yep. So the first thing that kind of pulled me into photography was I seen that I wanted to tell a story a certain way, and kind of like the camera was creeping up in my life. I seen that the camera was in a boxing gym. I seen that when I was just out and about, either hiking or running or working out or something like that, I seen somebody with a camera and I got interested immediately. And I started hobbying in it for maybe a few months or so, maybe 3 months in the summertime. And I was getting paid from it from friends just to shoot couple shoots, events. And I was just like, I think I can do this. I think there's a market because I seen that within me that I will go to a certain limit to make sure that the shot is taken. And when I seen that, I kind of recognized it, but I didn't know if it was a strength or not. But as I continue to hobby it and I seen other photographers, I'm like, this is something that's gonna make me stand out, going above and beyond to get the shot. So I came here straight to this home and had that conversation with my lady and said, hey, I think I wanna do photography. I think I can do this because I love studying it. I love cameras, I love working with it, I love capturing moments, and these things last forever. These pictures last forever. So that's when I just got into photography and I said, okay, I'm taking it serious. And then I started it.
Great. Now, transitioning from being a hobbyist into it being a profession, and doing what I do as well, I can relate to you. Going through that gauntlet of having to learn the skill and all the principles involved, and it's always a learning thing where we're learning every day. Yes. What type of equipment were you using initially that got your feet wet?
Oh, okay. So that one was tough. I had the f4 70-200 Sony camera lens, and then I had an A7 III, and then I had the what was it? A Zeiss. I think it was just the regular crop sensor lens at 18-105. Okay. And it was an f4 as well. So my pictures was very dark.
Yeah, f4
starting
baby.
out.
F4.
Everything was dark starting out. I'm
right.
in Lightroom, everything is getting shadows. Their shadows is getting updated, super crazy. And that's where it started until I started working my way out of, okay, I think I want to get into this. Okay, I'm missing this element. And then it grew. It just kept growing.
Now, I'm sure your early pictures, you probably look back at them a year or so later and you'd be like, ugh. Yeah. But the kernel is there, right? You can see that there's something there.
Yeah.
Obviously, because people thought your work was good enough to hire you to do their photography, do photography for them. What was some of the most challenging things that you found to this point in learning the process of capturing a moment and developing it?
Okay, so it was a couple pieces that you said that I want to speak on. So believing in the process early on was tough. And believe it or not, I still look at pictures I took a month ago and how to get better. Or what I could have done differently with this image or that image. And I think that's something that never leaves a photographer. You're always gonna look at your work to try to top your last work. What kind of aided into that was just a lot of failure. I had to fail, and what I like to call it is failing forward. So I look at my editing process before, and what I tried to do before was go through every lane on Lightroom to figure out what meant what and how did it damage the picture or what did it do to the image. And before I didn't have the knowledge of what these things did to the picture or the emotion felt in that picture. So if I look at my past picture before, like, oh man, I probably should have composed this picture the right way, or I probably should have understood what these settings meant on my camera first before but this is a part of the process,
Absolutely.
You can't really you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's going to continuously grow that way.
Yeah.
So looking at a past image in comparison to my now image, I'm like, oh, I didn't compose this the right way. I didn't frame this. I didn't use the right lens for this one. What story am I trying to tell? Because angles tell different types of stories.
Now, just for our viewers, when you say you didn't compose it correctly, you're speaking of setting the shot up in frame, right?
Yes.
And maybe what's going on in the background of that picture and what have you.
Yes.
Expound on that a little bit. I don't want to give it all away.
No, perfect. Yeah. So I do like leading lines or framing or a frame within a frame. Those types of that's what composure means. So for an example, if I'm photographing somebody that's in the boxing ring, and then you see the ropes as is in the square and the person's in the middle, and you got the ropes leading into him instead of shooting through the ropes, that's how you kind of compose the person to try to tell a beautiful story and get all the focus on the subject of what you're trying to shoot. So that's kind of like something that I lacked early on the focus point. It was just, oh, I see him and I gotta shoot it.
Right.
Versus now it's like, oh, it's a lot more patience and I wanna tell the story a little bit better.
So you're looking at everything in in your view.
Yes,
To
yes.
see how those elements that the normal person probably wouldn't see,
Absolutely.
how can that play a part in that picture that you're capturing for that moment?
Yes, and here's the big part. The big part was understanding your capabilities as a photographer as well. Because prior to my knowledge now, I didn't know how to remove people from the background or remove certain things in the image or clean a person up or soften their skin. You gotta understand the capabilities of your skill in fitted into the story you're trying to tell, right?
Okay.
So if I'm at a beach, right? If you're at a popular beach and you know for a fact that there's gonna be people on the beach, maybe one or two, but you also have to understand the best time to shoot in whatever state, country, or city you're in at that time, or what side the sun falls down over. You gotta also understand that. So for example, right, moving to Phoenix, the best time to shoot is around sunset, golden hour. That's kind of like the best time, or early in the morning.
Yeah.
And unless you want to shoot in the daytime, you're going to have a lot of diffusers. You're going to have somebody with you. You're going to have, you know, a lot of lighting, depending on how you want to tell the story. But sometimes you can't, if you don't understand your capability of removing that light that you got set up over here in your image, then you have a hard time. And that before I didn't know. So now I know how to do all those things of, oh, I'm gonna remove this person, I'm gonna compose this, or we're gonna shoot at this time, we're gonna start at this time of the day, we're gonna end at this time, or why is the pictures gonna be too dark? Are you comfortable with that? So those types of moves. And that way you kind of, you know, you walk your way into getting to the type of photographer you wanna be. And that's how it started for me from the past, where I would just, oh, if I'm available at 11:30, then we're shooting at 11:30. And it was like, this is going to be super tight to do because it's going to be bright.
Yeah,
And
especially in the summertime in Arizona.
Yeah.
Man.
Something I noticed with skin tone as well, like people's complexion also gives off a different part of the image as well. So if you're like light on the lighter side, your skin might just be super bright.
Yes.
And if you're and then you'll get the raccoon eyes depending on a certain time of the day.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of different factors that I look into when it comes to the image. And also, here's the key point. You got to do all of this while the client doesn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The client just wants great pictures, and their key like focus point would be like, oh, I saw this picture on Instagram. Oh, I saw this picture here. Can we do this? And I'm like, unfortunately, well, we're not here, or you're not there, and it's the wrong time. You want to shoot at 7 o'clock. You got to do all this, have all this knowledge, and be able to convey this to them in a comfortable way for them to know that they're going to get beautiful shots while also getting your same images. It's almost kind of like when they ask you, oh, can you do this image? It's like, can somebody replicate Van Gogh's work?
Right.
We're all different artists.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kinda,
you can get a rendition of it, but you're not going to
it's not going to get that.
Right.
Oh, well, I see that this one has detail and that one doesn't have detail. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not him. You know what I mean?
And then talking about those decisions that you, those things that you have to consider when you're composing a shot, you're doing all this in a short period of time. You don't have a lot of time to make these decisions and to get the shot. I mean, it could be within seconds, right?
Yeah.
Minutes.
Seconds. And they got to be comfortable.
Yeah. Because if you're, you know, shooting in the golden hour, that doesn't last very long.
No.
So whatever you got going on that the client may want from you, you're doing that education, you're setting the shot up, and you're explaining things, and at the same time, you're running out of time.
You're running out of time.
Yeah.
People, they don't feel comfortable. They may have shown up late. I've dealt with that, where somebody showed up late and they had 25 minutes left in their golden hour out of their hour shoot, and knocking out a shoot in 25 minutes of all the poses and all the locations is something that I can do. And we did it, and it was like, wow, I didn't even know that we can do all of this, and this was beautiful. I love them, and you know that. And now all this is fast. You got to know how to do those things, and you got to do it fast.
That sounds like there's a lot of preparation involved in that as well. A lot of pre-planning on your part, right?
Yes.
Talk about that process. like your pre-planning process for, you know, setting up a shoot?
Okay. So typically what I do is the night prior, I would study poses, new poses. I would say preparation is big on education. I make sure I educate myself a lot coming into a different shoot. Even if I've done the shoot over 20, 30, 40, 50 times, I will go and look up something new every single time and investigate the area, especially if I haven't been there. So typically if I haven't been to a location and it's nearby, I would drive to it, get a lay of the land, or I would show up early to the shoot to then just see my vision come together, see what I want to do, see how I want to tell the story, then ask them, hey, how do you want to tell the story? What do you feel? Tell me what's the, and then we go through that process as well. And then that way I'll be able to do the prior knowledge that I studied the night prior, made sure all my equipment was charged, everything was packed. I lay everything out. This is when that Army side comes out.
Yeah.
I lay everything out, make sure it's charged, it's in the right place, it's clean, it works. I go through each step. Okay, this works, this is in the bag, all right, and then I leave my bag by the door the night prior, just to make sure that everything is good. I went through all my educational steps as well, just so I can see if I learned something new about going to a shoot or about my camera. Studying your camera all the time to make sure that you know your equipment.
You know, if you don't understand certain aspects of your camera, then you can get yourself in a lot of trouble down the line when
Yes.
you encounter certain things you don't know why it's doing or
Yes.
not doing something.
Yeah,
Talk about that a
absolutely.
little bit. 'Cause
So,
you had a couple experience. You had an experience
So
like that.
I'm gonna talk about this experience where, and we talked about this earlier. My camera on my lens, it switched to manual focus when I didn't know it. So this was very early on in my process, and I didn't know why my camera wasn't focusing. But I also believed that it was because of the weather as well. I'm like, oh, okay, is it because it's foggy outside? Like, what's going on? Like, my lens is not clear. The beautiful part about that was it was towards the end of the shoot. So I already got
all
everything
wasn't
already.
lost.
Yeah, nothing wasn't lost. It was just like the last 10 minutes when they were kind of busy as well, and I'm posing them up and all those things. I'm like, oh man, like I'm forgetting. I don't know what's going on. So I had went to a camera store to see what was going, and he just, oh, it was in, no, I actually didn't go to the camera store. I went home and I was just looking over my stuff, and I was like, oh, it was in manual focus. That way I didn't shoot manual focus all the time.
Yeah.
I only shot manual focus by force that one experience. So knowing my equipment now is where I opened up most of my capabilities of it's like your car. You want to set your car up the best way possible. You know that your cup holder's here. You know you're going to go to this. You know you're walking into a shoot where you might want to use black and white, so you can switch your settings to go black and white on your camera. Unless you want to change it in post, you can do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But just to be, I like to mix it up a little bit. Like we said, we like to live a little bit of danger. We like to live dangerous a little bit. So I might switch up and do, let me do black and white, and let me just do, one with color, just to see. Black and white is a beautiful lane that I like to take at times. So by knowing my equipment, I know how to get all the capabilities out of my camera
Yeah,
to make sure that I tell the story.
I love black and white.
Yeah, black and white. Black and white always wins. It always wins.
So
You can almost
classic.
use it in everything that you do.
Yeah, especially like in the wedding photography.
Wedding.
Awesome.
And black and white gets a lot of, to other photographers that don't really know, or people that just watch, they think that black and white is, if you mess the image up, you put it in black and white.
Oh, really?
That's what some people think.
Okay,
Like, oh
okay.
yeah, this person messed this, he butchered this photo, it's probably
Okay.
overexposed or not exposed enough,
Yeah.
and they just put it in black and white. Like, no, sometimes,
That's
black
the
and white
fact.
brings an
Yeah.
emotion that,
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
you might need. Like some black and white in action doesn't look all of that, but if somebody's crying and you put black and white over it, oh my goodness, you're gonna feel it.
Waterworks everywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
black and white is cool.
What should be in your toolbox?
Whew. Confidence, number one.
Oh, okay.
Confidence is the very first thing you need to have. And this is why people can see when you're not confident.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a gateway to other problems. If people don't see that you're confident, right? If people do not see if you're confident, they're going to start questioning everything else.
Okay.
Everything.
Expound on that a little bit. Give me an example.
So even if you've seen, I just say, you see a very established photographer, without even seeing this man, just from his work, that his work is great. But if he came in, that same great photographer comes in and he's like, this button's not working, or hold on, wait, the battery's missing. I'm sorry, hold on one second. And all of that, instead of being confident, oh, just forgot my, same statement, saying it a different way. Oh, forgot my battery. 1 second, let's get started on this. You guys ready to smile? You ready to do this thing? Let's have some fun with this.
I kind of feel like you're talking about me a little bit.
No, no.
That has happened to me.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Confidence is that very first thing that you bring to a shoot. You bring that confidence. After that confidence, and they feel your confidence, now what you got to live up to that expectation they have of you.
Yeah.
So that way it's like, oh, I'm not just flipping my camera and say, oh, hey, what do you think about this picture? I say, hey man, you see that? You see how beautiful you are? Look at that smile you got.
So it's also a mind thing as well, though, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of a, you're not BSing anyone, but you're kind of showing that exuding that confidence and belief in your work.
Yeah.
Right? And you're also building confidence in them too.
Yeah.
Because I would venture to say people are very self-conscious about their images, right? I mean, you can even take the most attractive person and they're still, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that can go on and on.
But
if you come in like you're talking and say, oh, this is beautiful, this is perfect, you can move on, right?
Right, and that's the first thing. The second thing is be who you are. Mm-hmm. Be who you are. Now I know that we talked about the toolbox, and most times people will go right to their equipment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about things that's not tangible. Right?
Yes.
Confidence. Boom. 2, you gotta be unique. You gotta be you, because people purchase you. The client hired you to get the work. They obviously see that your eye is something that they want to tell their story. So being you and not being anyone else is super important. Number 1, confidence. Number 3, know your equipment and know your information. That's probably the next thing, because I'm sure that in those times when I had the lenses that I didn't have and that I have now, I probably could have framed my work differently. I could have, okay, maybe we should start at an earlier time just so my lenses can get the maximum amount of light without using all my ISO, using artificial light and everything like that. So I would say confidence, next one, being you, and 3, knowing your equipment. They're the big 3 things that's coming up in my mind when I go to a shoot. Sometimes people do not really want to, their energy is not where yours is at. So you gotta meet them where their energy is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't even know if they like the image. Sometimes they don't even know if they wanna shoot or not. They're like, oh yeah, I like this one and I like that one. Okay, well let's continue doing this one. You know what I mean? But ultimately they hired you for your eye. So don't be self-conscious going into it if they're not vibing with your energy.
That was perfect, man. You hit me with that one. I wasn't expecting that, but those are 3 very important points, 3 very important areas. I mean, if you don't have those 3, I mean, forget what's in the box, right?
Yeah, forget what's in the box. Forget what's in the box. People love confidence. Yes, people love people that smile. I smile all the time. Mm-hmm. First of all, I have a beautiful smile. And 2, people don't like people that cross their arms and seem unapproachable, but smile. You gotta smile. Yeah. Be happy, be excited.
And engaging.
Engage.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
Yeah. In dealing with the public and, in this type of work, people are very demanding, right?
Yeah.
They're very demanding. So you have to talk about how you deal with sticky situations where the client may be kind of just a little, I don't want to use the word difficult, but
challenging.
There you go.
Boom.
Perfect
Challenging
word.
always works.
So talk about that a little bit. What's your approach to that when you engage with a client?
In the past, I haven't had any challenges more recently, but the challenges with people that I had in the past was art. Art is it's to the eye and the beholder. You know what I mean?
Subjective.
It's subjective. You could absolutely do your absolute best, and that you did your best. Key word, your best. You did your absolute best on these pictures, and that you love them. These are going to be great. These are awesome. But the client doesn't absolutely have to love them. It's kind of confusing because they booked you for your eye and your art. And when you do your art, they don't like it because they want it to look like somebody else's art. The biggest thing I can say is Be tough, have some tough skin. Go home and fix the issue, but you can't be perfect for everybody. And that's how I kind of like dealt with, you know, I had to get through the process, of course. Like at the time, I felt like my business would take a hit and stuff like that, which it didn't. But you can't take it home. Go home, adjust, fix the problem, be better, and move on to the next one.
Now, how did you come to that? How did you come to that understanding? Was that something that was already innately in you, or did you learn that or pick that up through the process of going through some challenging situations?
I picked that up. I pick as a person, I'm positive all the time, and I'm not going to hold on to pain. I'm not going to hold on to it. But I picked that up with understanding that I'm not going to skip a phase that I'm going through. And that's something that a lot of people try to do. I don't skip the phase of what's going on in that problem. Like dealing with somebody that try to do a chargeback and people that don't like your work. If you go through something like that, I take in that process, understand that what is this trying to teach me? Go through that process, learn what it's trying to teach me, and then adjust from that. And that's just how I've been always. I've always been that way. Here's the problem, fix it. How do you can't skip over the pain. Somebody's already feeling like this is what happened to them. So you gotta go through this process.
Yeah.
So, and that's just innately just how I dealt with it, always. And that's why I felt like the growth has kind of been somewhat can be viewed as fast, because I'm gonna see a problem, fix the problem. Continue failing forward, as I told you before, fail at something, get better at it. Continue, keep it going. But I can't sit there. I can't sit there with a problem and act like, here it goes, confidence is coming back again. Because somebody can experience something like that and you have a shoot later that day again, and you can't bring that confidence or that issue to the next shoot. They don't know it.
That's very good. I'm
They
glad
don't know
you
it.
said that. Thank you so much for that, because at the end of the day, this is for us art.
Indoctrinating that failing forward thing, I say it all the time. We say it in this household all the time, where I say, fail forward. And what that means is fail and keep going. Keep going. Don't try to eliminate, don't try to be the only person in the world that eliminates failure.
Yeah.
Failure, to get past that point, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time, and you gotta be along for the ride. We're gonna fail at some point or another, I promise you. You're gonna continue to fail, you're gonna continue to make mistakes. But if you sit on that failure, now you're really just about to damage something. Just fail, sit in that process for a second, understand that, get from it what that failure meant, understand how you could have done better, or if it's something happened. Figure out what that is, move forward. That's it. Keep failing forward, keep failing forward, keep failing forward. Nobody's counting but you. You're the only person that's counting that. Nobody knows all the losses that you had, nobody cares. You messed up. Fix that issue with that person, place, or thing, whatever you want to do, and then move on.
That's a good point.
Yep.
So you won't tell me what's in your toolbox, and I totally respect that.
Oh no, I'm about to tell you now. In my toolbox, I have a Sony R4. That's my baby. I customize it. I got a new sensor cover for it. It's like locks in place. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful camera.
Yep. So I got the Sony R4. I have the 7200 2.8 G Master Mark II, and then I have the 24-70 G Master, and then I have a 35mm prime Sony as well, G Master.
Yeah, man, you have the workhorses. I mean, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you and I know, and I want you to talk about this a little bit, because we talk about this amazing equipment, and we've also talked about the confidence and things like that. But if talk about skill in building your craft, that's another important element that I'm sure is pertinent in this realm. Talk about that and how the process of developing that.
Okay. So shooting for free is a big one. Don't get stuck there, but understand that it is key, right? With my equipment, I've kind of like worked myself out of all old equipment into new equipment. And it's a different process. And you'll start to see that your abilities will be limited by the equipment that you have. But you also got to be, you got to be realistic with yourself. Do you really need this $4,000 to $5,000 camera? Why do you need it? I asked myself this probably like 7 times. I asked myself something 7 times, why? It's a practice that most people can use right after this. I promise you, you can use it. Why do you want this camera? Okay. After you said your answer to that why again? And then why again? And you'll get down to the root of why you want to get this camera. And then once you see that, oh, I'm actually limiting my ability to get certain clients or this, or I'm losing money or this and that. Okay, cool. Well, be realistic with your finances as well.
Now, I was told it's not about the camera, it's about the lens. I don't know if I totally buy into that, because
Yeah.
why would there be a $4,000 camera if all I needed was a $200 camera?
Right.
You know, I know they both do the same thing to a degree, but there has to be some difference there, right?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I don't believe it either. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I don't believe it either. I feel like they're both equally as important, because here's the difference that I saw, and when I seen this difference, it kind of debunked that entire idea, right? Everything has levels. There's a level system to everything, and I'm not gonna say that this doesn't equate to this as equal as, I'm sure it's like a roller coaster. They both have this. They both have the same, level of importance to them. If not, go on to the NFL fields and see what they're shooting with. They're all gonna be shooting with the A1s, A9s, 200 to 400s and 200 to 600s, whatever. You're gonna see them with the highest caliber of everything. You know what I mean? So there's levels to everything. I don't believe that. And here's the difference. When I had the A7 III and the 70 to 200 2.8, I have rented it and seen what the difference was. I'm like, oh, the lighting is cool. This is, it's awesome. It works. But then I got the R4. I tried out the R4 in the store with the A7 III at the same time with the same lens. And that R4 massively destroys the A7 III. Because it lets in low lighting even better, all those cool things. Like, it had a couple different features.
It performs better in low light situations.
Yes, it also shoots faster when it comes to sports. You get a lot more frames. So it was a clear difference, especially in price, comfortability in the hand, what it can do, the capabilities, the battery life. All those things actually matter. So I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, when it comes to that debate, lenses matter and bodies don't as much. They do. Bodies and lenses matter. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a higher caliber every time. And if that's the case, I got a question for everybody that's gonna watch this. What's the difference between an A9 Mark III and what's the difference between a Sony A7 III? Go shoot with those with two A7 70 to 200 2.8s and tell me what's the difference. Okay. Tell me what the body does differently. It's definitely going to be a major difference.
A good point. I'm so glad you said that. And I wish I had done this interview a year ago, and you would say me a whole bunch of hard.
I tell you, I'm going to give you a real answer every single time, because I've seen that bodies matter. I've seen that lenses matter. Lenses does matter, because lenses can give you a certain ability in a certain room or an arena that makes a difference. But they all make sense.
Yeah, definitely. What type of events do you like? Do you enjoy shooting most?
I love the events. I love shooting corporate events. The most.
Why is that?
And because it's simple. I feel like the expectation of what the client wants in a corporate event is so cool, because they just want all the highlighted moments. They want the most candid moments. And most of the time, they're not bothering you. Most of the time, they hired you because they believe in your work, right? They believe in your work. And number two, you just have to catch the most highlighted moments. That's all they hired you for. The price point is bigger. That's one. And two, you're in a big room where you can network with all those other people to create more shoots, especially if you do other things. I feel like you can find another lead in that room, especially if you, and this is what I do versus with other people. I try to make a client out of somebody there. You know how many families are in a corporate event room? You know how many events that's happening in their mind that they thinking about? And then when they get those images back, they're gonna be like, wow, well, I have a family shoot coming up. My son has a baseball game, soccer game. We have corporate shoots, and you can make a friend in there to connect with. especially if you make a friend with the head guy that hired you, then he can get you in line with the other people that's in that room as well. So that's why that corporate events are kind of like my favorite.
Oh man, that's awesome. You hit a lot of areas that I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where that is. And then you don't have somebody telling you to make them beautiful, right?
Nope, you don't have anybody telling you making beautiful. Everybody is, it's weird because, you know, when they take pictures, everybody's like, you gotta be quick. This is why I'm very quick on, and then I also switch my camera to silent mode, which I believe that a couple cameras don't have, but my camera switches into silent mode when I'm shooting. So that way, I'm just walking around and then take it again, and they don't even know. Instead of getting that nervous
You get
eye contact,
you get candid shots.
Yeah, super quick. Oh, boom. Oh, I already got it. Oh, cool. Yeah. Before you even noticed, he already took the picture. I didn't even know he took that. This picture's so beautiful. And what I do is, as I'm going around, I show people their beautiful selves, you know, in the event. They're like, oh my God, I look so beautiful. Can you send me that? And I'm like, I can't send it to you right now, but yes. And then here goes the, hey, how are you? My name is, and this is what I do.
It's an introduction.
Yep, it's an introduction. People love pictures. People love seeing themselves, especially beautiful, you know what I mean? So that way you just, hey, here's the conversation piece. Oh, here's my card as well. You know, reach out to me when you have some time, you know, or, you know, and then I go back home and I get into the next step. Every card that I get from this corporate event, guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna email them that same exact night. It was an awesome time meeting you. I'll edit their picture, send it to them. Hope that we can work in, you know, in due time. Do you have any upcoming events that I can be a part of? Oh, I know my sister has a birthday party, and then you go through that process, and that way you make another lead.
Great.
Fill the funnel. That's what I like to call it.
Man.
Fill the funnel.
So you mostly use the 24 to 70 in those cases?
Yes, it depends on how big the room is. I'll switch it up, and this is why I say 2 cameras is on the way. Well, I'm about to get another camera. But yes, most of the time it's 24 to 70. 24 to 70 is close enough. And then if it's like a huge event and they're talking and I don't want to go down the lane, I'll just switch the lens out quickly and just put on the 70 to 200 and just get some of those shots as well.
Okay, so here's a artistic question for you.
Okay.
Bokeh or no bokeh?
Bokeh, yeah, having it.
You like bokeh?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I like it a lot, especially because the depth of field is good. And it depends on who's in the back. If you're on the stage and there's other people, I'm not gonna have, you know, my focal length at that point. It's gonna be like at f4.5 or something like that. And then with my camera, I can kick up the ISO a little bit higher, and it still denoises perfectly in the camera.
So a little technical, I'm sure I might lose some people here, but what is the highest you can go on that ISO before you start getting into trouble?
On my camera?
On that particular camera?
On my camera, I can probably kick it up to probably 8,000 and still be fine.
Are you serious?
Seriously. I showed somebody this the other day. I'm like,
wow,
this camera is the best. That's how I feel about my camera.
This is a game changer.
Yeah, it's a game changer. Like I kick it up to 4,000, 5,000 and be like, cool. And then I go in a post and then I'll just, you know, denoise a little bit.
Yeah.
And then add some clarity.
You don't have to use that, but that's just, you're just saying that is a threshold.
Yeah, it'll still look great. It'll still look great every single time.
That's
every
amazing.
single time.
That's
but
amazing.
I don't ever have to go that high.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You don't have to really ever do that. But if you did, that would be
perfect.
Wow.
It is perfect.
That's amazing.
And what that means is ISO is just artificial light, right? I'm gonna give it to people because I don't want to lose y'all. I want y'all to be here.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
So what that means is ISO is just artificial light, right? And as you add in artificial light, it just gives you more of a grain to it. Kind of like you start losing the quality or the detail in the picture. So in this camera, for example, it keeps that detail in the picture when you add in artificial light.
So if you're in an adverse environment where it's too dark and you don't have adequate light and you need to bump that up, the quality of the picture won't suffer.
Nope.
Because you have to use that ISO.
Right. Right, but it's also equipment that you also have to understand. I use a on-camera flash as well, so that you have to understand lighting as well. I understand lighting, and I understand, okay, in this house, it'd be cool. I have white walls, this looks great. When the light bounces, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, having the directional 360 spin, all that stuff, how to frame your lighting when you go into portrait mode, when to point it up, when to point it to the side, when to point it forward, all those things. And it has power on that flash as well, the flash power. So with my camera, I'll use a 24-70, put the on-camera flash on there, and then if it's in a dark room, we might be in trouble. If we're not, then you're gonna be doing a lot of toning and temperature changes in the camera. I mean, in editing, when you finish editing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you have built this amazing business. You have a big following already,
Yes.
and but you decided to parlay your business acumen in another area.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the photo booth.
The photo booth came up as an idea. I was doing a corporate event, and I remember this day. It was the exact same photo booth that I have. It was literally the same one, or maybe a little different. But I did a corporate event for, I think it was SpaceX was doing like a corporate party. SpaceX had hired me to do their event photography, and then they had a photo booth in the corner. Black-owned business. They were very nice, beautiful people, and I was asking them a lot of questions. And I was like, if I had this and in a bundle deal with my photography, this would be crazy. Mm-hmm. Brought that idea home to my fiance, and she said, absolutely, yes, we should do that. Now, we played with the idea a little bit just so we don't invest too early into it. Mm-hmm. We definitely took some time on it, and then eventually I was like, okay, let's do it. Pulled the trigger, we bought the photo booth. Once that photo booth got going, we started getting bookings 2-3 times a month.
Now, for those of us who are not really familiar with the photo booth, explain how it works and what's the draw to it in those environments.
Gotcha. So here's the best part about the photo booth, right? The photo booth is a very interactive piece of equipment where we set it up at, mostly we do birthday parties, corporate events, we do house parties, we do kids parties, all those cool things, right? These things are very engaging. That way it's also a cheaper parting gift as well. Oh, I got another part of the story as well. We also seen a photo booth at a wedding as well that we did some time back, and we started compiling all the times that we seen a photo booth. So we like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that. But this photo booth is very interactive, right? We get to set up, we get to take pictures, you get to stand in front of it, press a button, have your props, have a good time, take a whole bunch of pictures of people that you love. And at that point, you press print, and then it prints off that picture. Cool party favor, some way to save yourself some money from actually buying gifts and shot glasses and other things. That way you can take actual pictures with them, and they can have that to, you know, put on their wall or add it in the memorabilia book. So
now, how long does it take to set up and tear down the booth when, you know, at these events?
Probably about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, 30 minutes at most.
To set up?
Mm-hmm. To set up everything, to troubleshoot it, all that. It'll be set up and everything. You have a backdrop, it'll be cool.
You decided to incorporate the booth into your photography business, and you thought it was a great idea, but you didn't know anything about how to operate it, right? So what was that process like, and how did you come to a level of proficiency to where you felt comfortable, you know, taking it on site and using it?
Gotcha. So it was a lot of trial and error at first. It was definitely a lot of trial and error. When we first bought it, we probably didn't even use it or even try to actually sit down and figure it out until probably like 2.5 months after we bought it. That was the first thing, because I was still shooting, and we, you know, vacations and, you know, dating, doing everything that we need to do. But we were managing everything in our own lives and our own businesses still. So I was shooting every 3 times, 4 times a week, and then 2-3 times on a weekend, I'm shooting a lot. So we didn't have actual time to sit down. But when we did sit down, my fiance friend also has a photo booth as well in another state. So she was like, this is how you set it up. So all props go out to her for helping us skip some hard steps and processes, because it was so complex to put it together. We probably would have messed up a lot more by figuring it out on our own. It was very difficult to understand the systems. Now that we have everything, easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we figured it out. We know how to get in there, get in, get out. And
so it's not like a tent. You could just
No. This thing it is very complex if you're going into it blind.
Okay.
And the equipment you have to buy is separate, unless you want to buy an expensive one. If you want to buy one that is, $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 booth, where it comes with everything and it's a lot more updated and official and all those stuff, you can do that.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's kind of like that middle ground that we have. It's like it's still new, it's still in, it's still fit, but we had to buy a printer. And the printer was also one of those printers that you can't find anymore. So we had to buy that on a separate site, and then.
So there's a lot of peripherals that are required to make this thing complete.
And the program, you got to pay for the program separately.
Okay, I'm assuming a proprietary software.
Yep. So you got to buy another software. You definitely.
Now, did you know all this ahead of time, or
no?
So
I thought
you bought this thing and then you're like, oh.
I bought this thing and thought, plug up.
Yeah.
No. We had to buy another camera. We had to buy an iPad, a newer iPad. Because we had iPads already.
Yeah.
But we had to buy a newer iPad. We had to. We had to set this up. We had to buy a program. It's other softwares on there that you got to spend money on if you want to get this capability. It needs to be manned. You also need to smile and have fun and give confidence on it. It's a lot of all those cool things that go with it. Where it's like, okay, well, this thing is actually cool.
Okay.
But it needs some work. If you got to sit down and actually sit with this thing, and then you got to market it.
Yes.
You got to market this thing, so people can do it. And that's why we created a social media and a website for it, so people can just easily book.
Yeah. So now you've invested so much into this, you had to make it work, right?
Yes.
Because it's just a big investment. I think with a lot of the equipment around what we do, in particular, we talk about podcasting and YouTube channels and video work and stuff like that. Sometimes we really don't know what we're getting into.
No.
When we see people doing it, and we see like how easy it looks in terms of what we see as a viewer, but we don't see all that stuff behind the camera.
I say it all the time, and I tell people that anybody I believe in or I like and I just want to give information to, I say it's you got to be very detail oriented. If you're not a detail oriented person in anything that you do, I'm not going to just say in photography, but especially in photography, you're going to have a lot more challenges than the average person.
Yes, and I think you learn that I'll just speak for myself. You learn that quickly as you get involved in this stuff, because there's so many moving parts. There's just so many moving parts that all have to come together in order for it to get the outcome you want to get, right?
Yeah.
So no, I totally agree with you on that. You learn that quickly, that if you're not a detail-oriented person, you better learn quick.
Seriously.
Or delegate.
Yes, or delegate. Yes, or delegate.
Yeah.
It's a very big thing, because if you don't, you'll start to see, like, I know even on shoots, if I don't see that the picture is balanced the correct way, I'm gonna automatically retake that picture.
So software, let's talk about software, apps and things like that you use to help you do what you do. What's some of your favorite tools that you like to use in post?
Post, I like to use Lightroom Classic, and Photoshop. I tried to do Capture One. It was nice at the time, but I tried it like you're supposed to do. You're supposed to try some things. Capture One was cool, but I didn't want to deal with that one anymore. And then Photoshop is kind of like my favorite one right now. It's so many things to learn on Photoshop. You can almost learn something new every week.
They've been around a long time.
They've been around a long
doing.
time.
Yeah.
You can do a lot. And I get inspired by other photographers' work where, I want to make something like that. Or I want to do this like this.
So you like the Adobe products?
Yeah,
So
I like Adobe.
that's cool. So with with your photo booth business and the photography business doing so well, where do you see yourself going from here?
So, as we was talking about earlier, I see myself being a photographer for the NBA. That's where I want to do. I want to continue growing in. I am great in all those other areas as well, but I see myself getting to that level to photograph in the NFL or the NBA or a high caliber professional sports team. So that's kind of like where I see myself growing to. And that's where I'm trying to get into.
I feel like you've thought a lot about where you want to be and where you want to go. And I think that's very, very commendable. What would you like people to know about you as a person?
As a person, what I would want people to pretty much know about me is I'm a very loving, honest, real, and caring person. I'm very much all of those things. When you interact with me, you're gonna always get a genuine reaction and feeling around me. It's never going to be fake. It's never going to be forced. It's always just easy. I love living easy. I love living peaceful. I'm very peaceful. And that's kind of like the biggest thing with me. I'm very easygoing. If you wanna have fun, I wanna have fun. I like doing things that's good for the heart. So a lot of things that I do is out of the heart.
I can definitely feel that. You have a very good vibe. Now, you are getting ready to make a big move in your life.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so I proposed to my fiance now in March of this year, and now we're getting married September 1st of next year. It's going to be super exciting, super exciting, and that was huge for me. That was a huge win for my household, for us, because teamwork, I promise you, teamwork is the best thing. Teamwork is the best thing. So.
Yeah, so you are a beautiful couple. So,
yes, thank you.
You know, congratulations, and I wish you guys many years of having a beautiful life.
Thank you.
Well, man, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this, man. I'm very impressed with you and, you know, all that you bring to the table and what you're doing in your life and what you're doing with this business. And I wish you all the success in the world, man.
Thank you so much for your time. And I want to say, like, continue just doing all the great things that you've been doing. Continue to put your love into these videos. Continue to highlight people's starting points and everything like that. So I just want to say I appreciate it. I love that you've been doing this, and I appreciate you for giving me your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.